Hello, I'm Sydney Metrick. I'm an expressive arts therapist and my business is Chicken Soup Counseling. Today I'm going to talk to you about loss, grief, and healing. Loss is an integral part of life. We experience losses all throughout life. In fact, birth itself is a loss. When we're born, we lose the comfort of the womb. And then as we grow, we continuously experience losses, small and large. For example, going away to school for the first time in kindergarten is a big loss at the same time that it's a new beginning of something exciting. Adolescence is a tremendous loss as you leave childhood behind and enter into a long transition period, a rite of passage that takes you to adulthood. And during that time, there will be many other losses, large and small, that one would experience. You can lose a person, a place, a thing, an idea, or a dream. And no matter what these things look like to somebody else, the way that they impact you will be something that you may not even understand or be able to deal with at the time. And yet those feelings are going to be there. And it's important to understand them, and it's important to know that you're okay when you're experiencing a loss. When you do experience a large loss, sometimes it precipitates a shift of identity. If there was someone that you were very attached to and you lose them because they move away, or because you got a divorce, or because that person died, then that means that the way that you look at yourself in your life is going to have to change. And the things that you do in your life and your future is going to be different than it would have been if that person was still there. There are other really profound losses that people experience: losing a job, losing a pet, moving away from some place that you've lived for a long, long time, losses of dreams. Losses of any sort can impact you in very different ways depending on 7 different factors. The first is if this loss is sudden or anticipated. A sudden loss is one that you can't prepare for, and it may just knock you over. An anticipated loss, even if it's one that you looked forward to, like graduation or retirement, can still be difficult to deal with. And an anticipated loss of someone that has a profound illness, a chronic illness, may be something that even while they were ill and it was painful, when they go it might be even more painful. And there's really no way to tell. Another factor that may influence how you feel when you experience the loss is the strength of your attachment to whatever it is that you've lost. If it's something that you didn't care very much about, you lost a book, maybe that doesn't mean much to you, unless that book was your journal. The way of responding to life's challenges is another factor that's going to impact how you feel. If you're someone who has a lot of personal resources and you can put things into place and gain perspective, it may be a lot easier for you to deal with the loss than if not. The amounts and types of support that are available to you is another factor that will influence what happens to you. If you have family, friends, a spiritual organization, or something else that's there to support you while you're going through a loss, it may be easier to kind of step away from time to time, or at the difficult times to have someone there to be with you, to listen to you. When there are other stressful things occurring in your life at the same time, those things just can add on or exacerbate what you're already feeling, and sometimes when you least expect it. Another factor would be unresolved feelings about previous losses. Sometimes people lose things and they just kind of slough it off like it doesn't really mean much. And it may not at the time until another loss occurs, and then another. And then sometimes these things can join together and suddenly, bam, something hit you that you had no expectation for. And finally, unresolved feelings about your own mortality. It could be that you read something in the newspaper about people that died in a plane crash, and suddenly it makes you think about your own life and how you've lived and what's left for you. So any of these factors, alone or in combination, can make a difference in how you respond to a loss that takes place in your life. And it's also important to know that when you do experience a loss, especially if it's a profound loss, it's going to take time for you to heal. There are certain stages of grief that you're going to experience, and I'll talk about them in the next video. And it's going to take anywhere from a year or more, possibly, for you to deal with this loss and to put your life back into a balanced place. And that's okay as long as you understand that. Because especially if, for example, someone that you love died, the first time you have to go through that person's birthday or your own birthday or a holiday when you would have talked to that person or been with them, it might bring up difficulty for you. I remember when my father died, it must have been 2 weeks before Father's Day when I started seeing all of those cards in the stores about Father's Day. I was devastated, but I got over it. The second year was easier, and the third year easier still. So the important thing for you to know is that loss happens, and when it happens, it often hurts. And despite the fact that it hurts, you can, and most likely you will, recover from it. And you can find out more by contacting me, Sydney Metrick. My website is Chicken Soup Counseling, www.chickensoupcounseling.com. Thank you for listening.